Ideas rule the world. An exhortation on the law of the creative mind. Opening the law before the law. Listen to me. Before there was a world, there was a thought. Before there was matter, there was a mind. Before there was light, there was an idea. Write this down. Everything visible was first invisible. That is not poetry. That is law. Gravity does not ask your permission. Neither does this. Principle 1. Creation is an inheritance, not an accident. Man was made in the image of God. Understand what that means. It does not mean you look like him. It means you think like him. The image is not a face. The image is a faculty. God is a creator. Therefore you are a creator. God designs. Therefore you design. God constructs. Therefore you construct. Look at the record. The earth was formless. The earth was empty. Darkness sat on the face of the deep. In the natural realm it was chaos. In the mind of God it was already a garden. God did not pray about the chaos. God did not complain about the chaos. God outthought the chaos. Then he spoke what he saw. And what he saw became what we see. That is the process. That is the whole book. That is the whole speech. Chaos plus an idea equals creation. Principle 2. God stopped building on purpose. Look at this. God finished the sixth day and stopped. Why? Not because he was tired. Because he was finished with the foundation. He built the raw materials. He never built the finished products. He put your shirt inside crude oil. He put your furniture inside a tree. He put your medicine inside a plant. He put your skyscraper inside a rock. He put your aircraft inside iron ore. And then he walked away and left the rest to you. Never say God has not blessed your nation. God buried everything in the ground. He is waiting for someone to bring an idea and dig it out. God finished creating. He did not finish creation. The rest of the world is waiting for your mind. Principle 3. The difference between the doctor and the clerk. Let me tell you a story. A doctor rode a horse to a chemist shop. In his hands, an old kettle, a wooden paddle, and a formula on a sheet of paper. He sold all three for $500. The young clerk who bought them was named Asa Candler. The content of that kettle was Coca-Cola. Now look at this carefully. Same kettle, same paddle, same formula. One man saw $500. One man saw $1 billion. The difference between poverty and wealth was not the product. It was the perception. The doctor was holding a fortune and could not see it. He had the substance, but not the sight. Write this down. Value is not in the object. Value is in the observer. You are holding something right now that you have priced at $500. Heaven has priced it at $1 billion. Comment below, I will not sell my kettle cheap. Principle 4. You cannot rise above your idea. Never blame your circumstances. Circumstances are the children of your thinking. The quality of your life is always equal to the quality of your thoughts. Not your prayers, not your connections, not your capital, your thoughts. An architect does exactly what God does. He sits down. He thinks. He sees the house before he draws the house. Then he draws what he already saw. That is the sequence, and the sequence is never reversed. Sight before construction, vision before provision, idea before industry. Anything that shortens your thinking shortens your destiny. Anything that interrupts your imagination interrupts your inheritance. Nobody in history has ever succeeded without thinking. Nobody. Principle 5. Nobody has a money problem. Listen to me carefully. This will offend some of you. Good. There is no such thing as a money problem. There is only an idea problem. Money is not a cause. Money is an effect. Money is not a seed. Money is a harvest. Money never leads. Money always follows. Money flows in the direction of ideas. Whatever stops your ideas has already stopped your income. So do not call the man with no cash a poor man. Call the man with no idea a poor man. The poorest man on earth is not the man with empty pockets. He is the man with an empty mind. Poverty is not the absence of money. Poverty is the absence of imagination. Principle 6. Ideas are seeds. Now I will give you the master metaphor. Never forget it. An idea is a seed. A life is a harvest. Every experience you see in another man's life is a fruit. The average man eats the fruit and throws away the seed. He admires the testimony and discards the principle. Listen, if you eat the mango and throw the seed away, you will never eat that mango again. But if you keep the seed, you can eat that mango for 1,000 years. The fruit is the experience. The seed is the principle. Envy eats the fruit. Wisdom keeps the seed. That is why some men celebrate greatness and other men reproduce it. Principle 7, the arithmetic of the seed. Look at this. You can count the seeds in an apple. You can never count the apples in a seed. A mango seed is not a mango seed. A mango seed is a mango forest hiding inside a shell, but it will remain a shell forever until it is buried. So it is with your idea. Your idea is not small. Your idea is concentrated. And an idea that is never planted is an idea that is never proven. Seeds do not grow in the hand. Seeds grow in the ground. Principle 8. The seed carries its own power. A farmer cannot grow a seed. Understand that. The farmer plants. The farmer waters. The farmer waits. But the power is already inside the seed. So it is with a God-given idea. The moment you act on it, it begins to operate with a life of its own. And here is the law. Seeds magnetize the environment. The seed pulls nutrients from soil it never created. The seed pulls water from clouds it never formed. The seed pulls light from a sun it never lit. Write this down. Ideas magnetize resources. Stop looking for money to start your idea. Start your idea and it will summon the money. Principle 9. Words are fruit that becomes seed. Where do words come from? Words are the fruit of thought. And when your word enters another man's ear, it becomes a seed again. Thought becomes word. Word becomes seed. Seed becomes forest. That is why speech is not decoration. Speech is agriculture. Every time you open your mouth, you are farming. Some of you are planting thorns and praying for mangoes. Delete the word impossible from your vocabulary. Send impossibility thinking to jail. Give it a life sentence with no appeal. A negative mouth is a barren womb. Principle 10. Brains produce children. When a man invents something, what do we call it? His brainchild. Now think about that word. It means brains give birth. God said to Adam, "Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it." We thought he was only talking about babies. He was talking about brainchildren. Look around you right now. The chair you are sitting on is somebody's brainchild. The car you drive is somebody's brainchild. The house you sleep in is somebody's brainchild. The clothes on your back, the phone in your hand, the very hairstyle on your head, somebody's brainchild. Here is the hard word. We have been consuming other people's brainchildren, and they have been consuming our money. That is the entire economics of poverty in one sentence. Nations that produce ideas rule. Nations that consume ideas serve. So I ask you the only question that matters today. Where are your own brainchildren? Principle 11. The 4 movements of dominion. Here is the chain. Do not break it. Be fruitful. Produce the idea. Multiply. Reproduce the idea. Replenish. Distribute the idea into empty space. Subdue. Conquer the minds of men with the idea. That is dominion. And dominion always begins in a thought. You do not get dominion by shouting. You get dominion by producing. Principle 12. Decision summons the how. Now hear one of the greatest laws you will ever receive. Ideas follow decisions. The brain is a servant. It never volunteers. It waits for orders. The moment you decide what and when, the brain begins to manufacture the how. But the man who says, "I don't know how," has just switched off the machine. How is not a question. How is a response. How never precedes decision. How always obeys decision. Let me show you. A preacher dreamed of building a school. For 2 years he said, "If only I had $1 million." 2 years of wishing. 2 years of nothing. Then one Saturday afternoon he stopped wishing and decided, not someday, within 1 week. He did not know how. He did not need to know how. Immediately something rose in him and whispered, "Why didn't you decide 2 years ago? The money was waiting for you all this time." He announced a sermon. He preached it Sunday with his eyes closed and his heart open. A man stood up from 3 rows from the back, walked to the pulpit and said, "Come to my office tomorrow. I will give you the $1 million. My name is Philip D. Armour." 2 years of preparation. 2 days of decision. Wishing is postponement dressed in religion. Deciding is the door. Stop asking God for the harvest while you refuse to name the date. Principle 13. Dissatisfaction is a gift. Understand this. No man ever changes what he has agreed to tolerate. Comfort is the enemy of creativity. Contentment with your character is godliness. Contentment with your condition is death. Get dissatisfied. Get holy dissatisfaction. Say it, I will not die in mediocrity. I refuse a barren mind. Infertility of the mind is worse than infertility of the land. A nation with barren minds will import everything and export nothing, and call it bad luck. It is not bad luck. It is bad thinking. Japan lost a war. Japan has no oil. Japan has no landmass. Japan is a scattering of islands. But Japan changed its mind, and now the world pays Japan for its ideas. Write this down and underline it. Our limitation is never a function of our condition. It is always a function of our decision. Principle 14. Good ideas and God ideas. Now let me draw the line clearly. Not every good idea is a God idea, but every God idea is a good idea. A good idea will make you busy. A God idea will make you history. A good idea comes from your five senses. A God idea comes from the invisible realm. There were once two sources of thought in the universe. Now there are three: God, the devil, and your own untrained mind. Only one of them has never been wrong. God says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. He is not insulting you. He is advertising himself. He is saying my ideas are superior. Connect and you carry superior ideas. If ideas rule the world, then the God of superior ideas is ruling the world, and he wants to do it through you. Principle 15. Heaven gives seed, not bread. Listen carefully, because most of your prayers are misdirected. You ask for bread. God offers seed. You ask for $1 million. God offers the idea that produces $1 million. You want the harvest without the sowing. Heaven does not operate that way. God gives seed to the sower, never bread to the beggar. Rain does not fall to make you comfortable. Rain falls to make the earth productive, and rain is the symbol of his spirit. When the rain falls, seed is supplied. When the Spirit comes, ideas flow. That is why you must pray. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is the negotiation of ideas. Sow a prayer. Reap an idea. Principle 16. God matches ideas with recipients. Hear me. God is not careless with his seed. He does not give a forest to a man who will not dig a hole. He gives ideas only to those with the capacity to believe them, the courage to personalize them, and the discipline to act on them. Noah received an idea. Joseph received an idea. Daniel received an idea. Why them? Because heaven examined them and concluded, this one will build it. Some of you have been praying for 3 months for something God cannot yet trust you with. That is not rejection. That is preparation. God said to one man, you are struggling because you are flying over low mountains. I have brought you to higher mountains, but you are still flying at the old altitude. God will never release an idea that your capacity cannot carry. Grow the container and heaven will fill it. Principle 17. Giving is the gateway. Now I will show you a hidden door. When God says he will open the windows of heaven, does money fall from the sky? Never. God is not a magician. God is a farmer. When the windows of heaven open, rain falls, and rain is spirit. And spirit comes carrying wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. Divide that list into 2. Divine ideas, wisdom, understanding, counsel, knowledge, reverence. Divine power and might. That is the blessing. Not a check, a capacity. Solomon gave 1,000 offerings. That night God appeared and handed him a blank check, and Solomon asked for wisdom. That is the genesis of his wealth. Jacob promised 1/10 at Bethel. Years later, heaven opened his eyes in a dream and showed him the genetics of his own deliverance. He entered as a servant. He exited wealthier than his master. Latorno began to tithe and began to dream machines. He stopped tithing, and the dreams stopped. He resumed, and the dreams returned. Eventually, he gave 90% and lived like a king on 10. Write this down. When you give money, which is a physical seed, God gives ideas, which are spiritual seeds. Physical seed up, spiritual seed down. That is the exchange rate of heaven. Principle 18. God ideas always triumph. Understand this and stop trembling. A God-given idea may be delayed. It can never be defeated. The devil is not a creator. The devil has never made one thing. He is an idea eater. He is a dream killer. He is a bird that comes for the seed on the path. So expect opposition. It is not a sign you are wrong. It is a sign you are loaded. Joseph told his dream and his brothers hated him. So he dreamed again. Understand the caliber of that man. The harder the resistance, the bigger his dream. Marconi said messages could travel without wires, and his friends carried him to a psychiatric hospital. The man who said the earth was round was burned at the stake by the religious. A professor of engineering declared flight impossible, and 2 bicycle repairmen embarrassed him. Edison failed 5,000 times, and when his apprentice begged him to quit, he said, "We have not failed. We have discovered 5,000 ways it will not work. We are closer now than when we began. 10,000 experiments, 1 light bulb, and the whole world stopped living in darkness. The men died. The ideas did not. Ideas are more powerful than the brains that produce them, because ideas outlive the brain." Principle 19. From pit to palace. Joseph was thrown in a pit, sold as a slave, lied about, locked in prison, forgotten by a friend, and still he landed in the palace. When you hold your dream, every weapon becomes a wheel that carries you forward. Your pit becomes your platform. Your test becomes your testimony. Your critics become your celebrants. Hear me, the same mouths that told you it was impossible will one day tell you, "I always knew you would make it." Do not argue with them. Just build. Some of you canned your God-given idea and put it on a shelf. It is covered in dust. Today you take it down. Today you dust it off. Today you run with it. Principle 20. How to generate ideas. First, prepare the soil. A negative mind cannot nurture a creative seed. Napoleon said it. The word impossible is found only in the dictionary of fools. Impossibility does not exist in the world. Impossibility exists in the mind. Now, the natural process. Write these down. 1. Find a need and fill it. One man's problem is another man's payday. Some people only see the problem. Producers see the opportunity. 2. Simplify what exists. Cables became wireless. Complexity is a market waiting for a simplifier. 3. Adapt an idea. What thrives over there can be modified for over here. 4. Create a need. Nobody was born craving a soft drink. Somebody manufactured the desire. 5. Increase exposure. Read, travel, ask questions. A closed mind is a closed future. Now, the supernatural process. 1. Prayer. Call to me, and I will tell you marvelous things you could never figure out on your own. Never figure out. That is the phrase. Some ideas are not available to research. They are only available to relationship. 2. Meditation. The Bible is the greatest idea resource book on earth because it is God's creativity on public display. And beyond that, simply think. Isaac went out into the field in the evening to meditate. 10 minutes of thinking is worth more than 10 hours of misdirected sweat. Hard work moves objects. Smart work moves errors. 3. Giving. The gate we already opened. Principle 21. Purpose protects the harvest. Now hear this law of the soil. Not every soil receives every seed. You were designed to cultivate a specific species of idea. Ideas come to you in proportion to the goals you have set. They rarely come bigger. Small vision, small ideas. Global vision, global ideas. So find your assignment. Stay in the lane where heaven's resources are guaranteed. Stay in the area where you have supernatural confidence, the place where you cannot imagine failing. And never despise your gift because it does not look like another man's. You will only shine in the area of your gifting. Everywhere else, you are just a copy. Principle 22. No vision dies alone, and no vision survives alone. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But listen, where there are no people, the vision perishes. Adam carried the seed. Adam had no womb, so God gave him a helper. Every visionary carries seed. Somebody else carries the womb. There are minds designed to gestate what your mind conceived. The very first act of Jesus' ministry was not preaching. It was recruitment. If you want friends, become friendly. If you want a team, become worth following. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Principle 23. Nothing moves until you move. Newton told us, an object stays at rest until a force is applied. You are the force. The world only moves for the man who moves himself. The man in the parable needed bread at midnight. He did not sit in his house complaining about hunger. He went where the bread was. Hear me, success will not visit you at your address. You must relocate to where it lives. If God promised you a whale, stop fishing in the stream behind your house. Go where the whale is. Take the risk. But whatever you do, do not sit down. And when the first answer is no, understand what no means. No is not a verdict. No is a timestamp. It means come back or come differently. The man got his bread, not because of friendship, but because of persistence. Start the company. Register the business. Take the shop. Write the exam. Make the call. Failure is not falling. Failure is staying down and calling the ground your home. It is not over until it is over. The final law, the oneness of the inner and outer man. Now I bring you to the heart of everything. Every man lives in 2 worlds, the world inside, the world outside, and here is the law that governs both. The outer world is always a photograph of the inner world. You do not have what you want. You have what you are. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not so he appears. Not so he pretends. So he is. Prosperity is not a bank statement. Prosperity is a state of soul that has leaked into the visible. That is why the prayer is, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. The soul does not eat bread. The soul eats ideas. So the size of your soul sets the ceiling of your success. 2 men were abandoned as infants. Both grew to 3 feet tall. Both were orphaned again as teenagers. And both became multimillionaires, and they named their company Think Big Incorporated, because they discovered the law. Wealth does not respond to your physical size. Wealth responds to your mental and spiritual size. Grow the man on the inside, and the world on the outside must adjust. The closing challenge. Let me leave you where God started. Your life may be formless right now. Void, dark, chaotic. Take comfort. God once had exactly your problem. The earth was without form and void. Darkness covered the deep. But 2 things were happening in that darkness. 1, the Spirit was still moving. God had not left the room. He is still moving over your life right now. 2, God had an idea. In the darkness he saw light. In the chaos he saw order. In the emptiness he saw oceans and mountains and men. He did not describe the darkness. He declared the light. We do not need more commentators of the crisis. We need creators of the future. The world owes everything to its dreamers. Without dreamers, this planet would have perished long ago. Somebody had to dream the microphone before you could hear my voice. Somebody had to dream the light before you could read at night. Somebody has to dream the next thing. Why not you? There is something more powerful than every army on this earth combined, and that is an idea whose time has come. By God's timing, this is the hour when powerful ideas are breaking into the natural realm, and at least one of them is assigned to come through you. So here is my challenge. Do not close this and go back to sleep. Stop asking God for bread. Start asking God for seed. Stop consuming other men's brainchildren. Start producing your own. Stop waiting for money. Money is following an idea you have not caught yet. Get dissatisfied. Make the decision. Name the date. Plant the seed. Take the risk. Endure the ridicule. Refuse the shelf. Run with it until the mountains sing and the trees clap their hands. You were not created to consume the world. You were created to co-create it. Now go and give birth. It is your turn.